Hello. This is trying to understand Star versus the forces of evil. We watched episodes 3, 4, and 5. What are
This
episodes
is
3, 4, and 5 about?
this is episode 2 of the Trying to Understand Star Wars Forces of Evil podcast.
Oh yeah, that's correct. We're on our second episode. That's true. I should say that. Still getting the hang of this whole intro thing.
Anyways, we watched episodes 3 through 5, like my buddy said.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to start, or do you want to start out?
I don't know. Do you have anything of particular interest to say about the start? Because then you can
Well, episode 3 actually starts off with we actually get to know that Marco does karate. We get to glimpse into that they just mentioned in the first episode. Yeah, oh yeah, Marco knows karate. Haha.
But now we get to see for real. He actually does sort of know karate. He's not necessarily good at it. He's a green belt.
He's a green belt with a stripe.
I'm not sure that means anything.
I don't think it means anything either. But it focuses on, like, at the very beginning, he like breaks his hand practicing for this whole tournament. And he has a rivalry with this one dude named Jim. Breaks his hand. Stars like, hey, I can fix that. And we get a couple different introductions. One is major. We get introduced to the magic instruction book that Star has.
Yes.
Which was not previously mentioned. She's flipping through the pages and tries to recover Marco's arm and ends up turning it into a tentacle, or a squid arm, which the ladies love.
Yes.
The ladies love the squid arm.
So begins the hentai episode of Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Gee. I mean, to be honest, they know what they're doing. They know the implications.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear.
One thing that is also briefly seen but not mentioned is a character that comes in later.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you noticed it, but there is a character that gets briefly seen while she is turning through the magic instruction book.
I don't think I was paying that much attention to the book.
She's flipping through the pages and a character just pops up. And that character is actually really important later.
Mm-hmm.
I have his name down and I'm tempted not to say his name.
Yeah, I might go back and look at it just to see.
But no, he is briefly seen, but he does become a major player later on. But we're still in the early episodes, so they don't mention it. They don't even mention him. They just I thought that was real weird because I never noticed that like when I originally watched it.
Foreshadowing.
It is foreshadowing if you know what you're looking for. Well, fortunately, I did. Well, Marco has a lot of problems with this squid arm at first.
He likes to slap things.
He likes to slap things. He likes to wave it around. The squid arm beats up a bully with it, and he gets like major kudos points for it. And everybody starts like, hey, this is really cool. And Marco's like, hey, this is really cool. I want it now.
And goop all over everything with his arm.
And then Star's like, hey, I got a spell that will reverse it.
Yeah, and she stays up all night to find a spell. Apparently for like 3 days.
Yeah, that comes into the end of part 1. But Marco decides, hey, like, I want to keep this for a while, especially since the karate tournament is coming up.
Star's like, isn't that cheating? And he's like, nah.
Nah, it's cool. So then the squid arm just turns like super evil. And I think the major part of it is like Marco's still like, oh yeah, let's do it. Like, still do it. I wanna kick Jeremy's ass.
Yeah, well, the arm grows a mouth, and it starts talking, and it's like, yo, let's do this stuff. It's cool. And he's like, yeah. And it's like, let's also, what's his line? It's like, let's
Take over the world, basically.
no, he says something about bowels. Let's consume their bowels or something. And the guy's like, what? Huh? He's like, no, I mean, win the karate tournament. He's like, oh yeah, I'm down.
That's why I said all along, weren't you paying attention? Then we get to the karate. And we get Jeremy's reveal. He's
Very tiny.
He's
tiny.
he's like he's an 8-year-old. He's like a literal like 8-year-old.
But notably, he is like a black belt, if I believe, because he's got I think he's got a black belt.
It's kind of also implied that his parents basically bought it off.
Yeah. The indication seems to be that he doesn't actually have any idea what he's doing.
So they do the karate tournament, and, well, Jeremy gets destroyed by Squid Arm.
Mm-hmm.
And the Squid Arm turns evil. And like Star's passing out because she's been up for 3 days, but she did master the arm spell.
Mm-hmm.
And the squid's like Marco has to basically battle the squid arm.
Right.
And he's just flailing all over the room while Star is just turning everything into hands.
A lot of good hands in there.
There's a lot of hands.
Good gag where he turns some, I don't remember what it was, but something into a hand, and it does the karate gesture thing. And then the guy's beside it, and he does the same one. He's like, ooh.
The dojo master.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good. I didn't even remember that bit. But basically, Star, like, Marco is on top of the ceiling or something and kicks off into the arms, and all the arms grab him and the squid arm, and finally gets his arm back. And it's like, oh, that, like, isn't it like kind of just ruled like a no contest?
Yeah, because they find that Jeremy had brass knuckles.
Yeah.
So it's like, you both cheated.
Well, gold knuckles. They were actually gold knuckles, but
Technically gold, which would actually be less effective than brass, I think, because it's like a softer metal.
But still, like at a karate tournament, you're gonna do like that's kind of screwed. It's kind of messed up. Some like 8-year-old kid like goes into a karate tournament and plans to win by using basically brass knuckles.
Yeah, and aside though, where do you even find 8-year-old size brass knuckles?
At the fair.
I feel like that would be more likely to be plastic.
I'm gonna sidetrack for a second. No, there's a local fair that goes on, and there's a couple booths that just sell weapons. Like they sell like a bunch of knives and stuff like that. They probably have child-sized brass knuckles.
I don't know. I mean, there are weapon fans out there, I guess.
There's a lot of weapon fans. Okay. But that's basically the end of part 1, episode 3.
Yep. They turn the tentacle back into an arm. Except it's hinted at that maybe it can never truly be destroyed.
I could be wrong, but I don't think they ever bring it back up.
I really want them to bring it back up, but I'm sure they won't.
There's a lot of things that when it comes to like early season 1, a lot of stuff won't be. Then we go to part 2 episode. To read my notes, and I scrolled too much down and thought we were on episode 4 already. This is the Gustav episode.
Yeah, Gustav.
Yeah. Start like they're all excited. Starts having this whatever happy 10th day of being here party.
Okay.
Starts all
what
excited.
Was it, like 41st?
I think
something like that.
It was something like that. And Gustav just appears out of a new challenger approaching. And they just completely forget about Star. And that's where everything kind of goes down the wayside. Like Star gets really jealous of Gustav. Gustav is this foreign exchange student that had came back like every year or something like that. But then like Star starts getting like real suspect and real jealous.
Yeah, she's suspicious of his meatballs. She starts spying on him all over the place. Yeah, and he's like measuring the parents at night. It's real weird. Which
actually is the most suspect thing. Like, what the hell? They actually never explain that.
Yeah, no. There is a good bit where she's trying to spy from in a tree outside the window, and the monster dude who was hiding in the tree outside the window is also in there, and they see each other.
Oh my god. I love that. I absolutely love that. That's Buff Frog. That's Buff Frog.
Yeah, I think you mentioned him in the last episode. And that was where I thought of him.
Yeah, that's yeah, I actually have that in my notes. Great bit with Buff Frog and Star. Star goes like absolutely insane about Gustav.
Yeah, it gets one of those cork boards with all the notes and string tying everything together going on.
Like you see in the movie. Yeah, like a web map, I think it's called.
I don't know what they're called. I just know they're the things that crazy people make.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though,
no sane person would own a corkboard.
No sane person. You're probably right. I don't own one. Ow.
Can't prove that I own one.
You can't. So Star comes to the conclusion that Gustav is going to kill and eat the Diaz family.
Turn them into meatballs.
Turn them into meatballs. So they go on a trip to the wilderness, I think.
To Isolation Point or something like that.
Yeah, it was something more suspect, so it just made it like way worse. It was like Isolation Point. He had an axe and everything, and she hops on the top of the car. And
yeah, they initially leave without her, actually. And she has to like magic herself onto the car. And then does a little seatbelt thing, but then also leans over and starts banging on the window from the top of the car.
Tries to rescue him, confronts Gustav. Turns out Gustav isn't a foreign exchange student. He's just really sad, and he comes from a really sad,
a very sad town. They don't have any good food. It's like, I want to make a good food.
I want to make a good. I want to be a meatball chef or something like that. They drop the accent and say his real name. I forget what his real name is.
Yeah, what was his real name? I don't remember it.
It's like James or something.
Not a terribly interesting name. Although before he reveals his secrets, Star has to chase him through the woods. And during that chase, he transforms into a huge dragon, and that was a cool bit.
Oh yeah,
very large and also dragon.
I forgot about. And basically Gustav is like, hey, what can I do to not tell for you not to tell
Hmm.
the Diaz family about my actual truth. And so Gustav is basically blackmailed off the show.
Yeah, it almost looks like they made up and became friends, and then she's like, "Nah, you get to leave."
Bye, bye, bye. While he's like leaving all sad. That is a great bit. They kind of do something weird with it. Like he just goes to another person's house,
Yeah,
and he's French now.
now he has baguettes.
Baguettes, and you know that was an episode that was a part that was like part 2 of that episode was kind of like it kind of built something, but it kind of didn't. Because ultimately Gustav just gets blackmailed off the show, never to return. Is there anything else about part 2 that I'm forgetting?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay, well, then we get into episode 4, part 1.
Right. And episode 4 was...
It starts out with Ludo attacking Star.
Yes, that episode.
And it's like Marco's like this kind of might be my fault. And they
Like,
go
yeah.
into a whole backstory. Marco has this really bad day. Everything bad is happening. He missed the bus. He is banging on the bus.
He's running after the bus. Star opens the window and is like, "Hey, good job getting your jogging in today." And then shuts the window on him. And then I think the bus stops and he goes forward, but his coat is caught on something. His coat isn't caught yet. He stops and the bus stops and he runs into the stop sign on the side of the bus. And falls down, and then the bus driver looks out and he's like, "I can't believe somebody punched my bus."
Which is a great bit.
So then he gets his coat caught in the door when it closes. And so the bus starts up again and he's running after the bus and he's got his coat. And then it tears the front of his coat off and he falls into the bushes. And he's laying in the bush like, ugh. And he gets up and then a guy rides by on a bike. and this guy looks at him and just starts giggling like an idiot. And then it turns out that what's the guy's name? Marco.
Yeah, Marco.
Marco is wearing a shirt that says,
I kissed a ninja.
I kissed a ninja. Where'd he kiss a ninja? Where'd that happen?
It's like NinjaCon or something like that.
NinjaCon. Something like that.
I do have that in my notes because I loved that. I was like, that kissed a ninja shirt though.
Would you wear a kissed a ninja shirt?
Oh, hell yeah, I would.
That's a solid move.
Didn't it even have like his face on? Like, didn't it even have his face like kissing the ninja?
I don't know if it was his face, but I think it was like a karate dude. Like there was a karate thing going on.
Might have been Karate Con. It was either NinjaCon or Karate. Anyways.
Yeah, it may have been it. And I believe that after that, he makes his way to school. But just outside school, he runs into Jeremy. Jeremy's here and ready to... Or no, he doesn't run into Jeremy right away. First he walks up, and then somebody comes up to him and is like, "It's school picture day." And immediately takes a picture of his ugly face.
with the black eye and because he put a bag on himself. It's
Well, no, a newspaper, I think, was what he did. So nobody could see his ninja shirt.
yeah, his I kissed a ninja shirt. I would be proud to wear that.
If you don't want to wear a shirt out, why would you put it on? Why would you wear a shirt that you don't want to wear? What a weird thing.
I mean, he has a hoodie on.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't know.
Well, anywho, After Picture Lady goes away, Jeremy shows up. Jeremy's like, haha, I was gonna give you a black eye for the school pictures, but looks like I didn't have to. You did it for me.
What's that? What is this 8-year-old kid do? Why is this this 8-year-old kid is just introduced, and then the next episode he's still. What is this 8-year-old kid doing?
She's just there to be a villain, I think. Just antagonizing Marco. Marco's like, nah, I don't have time for this. And he takes a step, and then he smashes a skateboard. And it's, what's-her-face's skateboard?
Jackie.
Yeah, her. It's her skateboard. And she's like, yeah. It's cool. I can go. And she tries to skate away on half a skateboard.
It's terrible. Oh my god. Nah, it's cool, Marco. I can just deal with it. No.
And Jackie's a big mood.
Yeah, Jackie's great. Jackie's actually, like, we don't see a lot of Jackie, but Jackie's actually big. So after that terrible day, Star just tries to cheer up Marco. Marco's like real sad, real sad boy hours, and she ends up cheering up Marco, and so the next thing was that we got an introduction to Oscar in the flashback.
Who was Oscar? Oscar was...
He's the guitar player.
Yeah, that guy.
He has a record.
Like, what kind of a record? Like a vinyl?
It just all they say is that he has a record. And I think it just implies he's a bad boy that plays guitar.
Yeah, he does not know how to speak, and he's got a guitar, and he's very bad at it.
He's great at it.
He makes a bunch of sounds. Everybody hates them. Except Star. She's into it.
Star just crushes over Oscar. Like the whole episode.
Yeah, notably, she gives him Marco's phone number.
Yep. They have like a fantasy sequence with Star and Oscar. Star is just waiting for Oscar to call. Why don't there is a good bit like why don't you just use the landline?
And she's like, I like your ringtone better.
Space unicorns. Na 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 na.
He's like, it's supposed to be ironic.
He says that throughout the whole episode as well. And throughout this, they're also cutting back to
the present, where
they're
being attacked by monsters and trying to put together armor in a shed out of things.
Out of just random things they're trying to find in the shed. Basically, like Marco tries to cheer up Star.
Right.
That's the whole thing. That is the major plot. Well, that Marco was cheered up by Star. Marco's gonna cheer up Star, and because Oscar ended up not calling, and then they do like the whole battle, and Oscar ends up calling like during the battle. Talk about like bad timing.
Yeah, well, notably, the reason the battle starts to begin with is because Marco opens a portal to another dimension and starts luring monsters through with the wand.
And lures every monster in.
And so they all come through and start attacking. But yeah, battle's going on. There's a fun little bit in the battle where Luda's like, he says something about one of their names, and Marco or Star is like, what? I don't know their names. He's like, what?
Oh,
We had 3 fights and you don't recognize my minions? And they like all introduce each other.
they didn't introduce Bullfrog, but they introduce like all the other like jobber characters. Hi, I'm Spikeball.
And they're like, okay, now that the pleasantries are covered, now we can get back to the fighting. Fighting occurs, and then what's his face calls Oscar. That guy, he calls, and then Star has to stop in the middle of the battle and take this phone call. It is there was the minimum amount of dialogue going on in this call, humanly possible. Why did Oscar even call? He didn't even say anything.
they didn't.
He's just like,
hey, that's cool. All right, bye. It's
meanwhile combat going on in the left half of the screen.
And they end up winning, like always. Naturally. Although there was a good bit with the bicycle kid from earlier.
Yeah, he shows up and laughs. Oh yeah, because at the end there's like a syrup attack and Marco gets all syrupy and then Star gives him like a hug and then they're stuck together. And then bicycle guy comes up and giggles. And then he just like stares for a minute.
Abruptly stops and stares for a minute.
And then just
why was he there? Especially since it was like in their backyard. It wasn't even like on the street. It was like just in their backyard.
He's just running around, you know.
Oh my god.
There was some nitrous going on back here. I had to see what was up.
Oh my god. And that's the end of part 1, episode 4. And we go into part 2.
Part 2,
Quest
I think
Spy.
was... Yeah, that one.
Ends up, Marco is like super organized while he's introduced as the safe kid. Of course he's super organized. And Star is just this chaotic mess.
Yeah, they're trying to comb their hair. And Marco's like, yeah, there's my hair. And Star's like a million hair dryers going on like magic. But then it turns out, wand's running out of battery. Didn't find the wand charger. But guess what? It's so messy, Star can't find the wand charger. Where'd it go?
So they go into the... Well, Quest Spy is its own, like, universe, basically.
It's basically just like the labyrinth. Because there's a whole, there's like a language on the wall or something that some guy's trying to decipher, and he's like, I figured it out, appliances are this way, and runs into a wall.
And he looks like a Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Maybe. I haven't watched Lord of the Rings. It's a little crawly dude, I guess.
Yeah. Well, everything's like, there's like millions of things, and Marco's like, oh, like, I figured it out, like, instantly. Like, people had been there for like years trying to decipher the code. And then Marco's like, oh, I know where they are right now. Let's get into this elevator.
Let's take this elevator to go to the right floor. But they get in the elevator. Well, before they get in the elevator.
Yeah. They run into Ludo.
Yes.
Of course.
He's there buying something.
A beak trimmer.
Yes.
Buy a beak trimmer. That's the whole thing. Conveniently with all of his minions.
Because he needs them there to find it. Because it's so complicated to find anything in this store. Even
though all of his minions are incompetent. I do love the bit when they go into the elevator. Like Star and Marco go into it perfectly. Ludo and his minions,
they all squeeze in.
And then this giant like blob dude comes and is like, hold the elevator. And they're like rapidly just trying to like close it. And the blob dude just like opens it up like right before he closes. Oh, thanks for holding the elevator. And just squeezes his giant ass.
Very powerful move.
But they're fighting basically throughout the whole store this episode. Trying to find the charger before it dies. Like, Star can't really use the the wand.
Yeah, it has basically no power at the moment.
Yeah. And I think the most interesting bit, well, okay, before I get into like basically the finale of it, the sloth employees are just amazing.
They are excellent.
That's not my department. they elevator up.
The elevator up, except it like the power goes out or something and it gets stuck, and they have to climb up, and they end up on the booby trap floor. And there's a sloth guy in that floor, and he's like, "This is the booby trap floor. Watch where you're going." And then he trips on a mouse trap and gets stuck. And he's like, "Don't help me. I got workers' comp for this."
I like how before he was also like all bandaged up, like he had broken like several appendages before from
He's
working.
clearly worked here a while.
Oh my god, the sloth employees are great.
They are excellent.
They go through the booby trap room. Marco finds the room with like all the chargers.
Yes, he finds that room, and he's like, you hold everybody off. I'll figure out which one we need. So Star goes out, starts fighting all the monsters, and Marco's looking for the appropriate charger. And Star runs into another sloth running around. He's hiding out in one of the shelves.
Yes.
And I don't remember what he's doing, but he's got some potato chips. And he's like, "Don't tell my boss I'm here, okay?"
Don't tell my... Are you gonna tell my boss about this? It's great.
And there's a giraffe outside.
The best bit that happens during that is Marco's shifting through all of these chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the minions finds the beak trimmer. It frantically rushes. And coincidentally, when Marco's like, black hole charger, nope, throws it onto the ground, and this minion just gets sucked into a black hole.
What would you even use a black hole charger for? Does it use a black hole to charge things, or do you use it to charge black holes?
I don't know.
Like if your black hole runs out of batteries, or is the black hole is the battery. It's hard to tell.
But basically, Star loses her wand, and something interesting happens that will come up later. Other people can use Star's wand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think it's Ludo's whole objective is he wants to steal the wand.
I don't think it was really ever majorly mentioned before, but definitely.
Yeah.
And he starts trying to do stuff, and actually another interesting tidbit is it does different stuff with different people.
Yeah, well, it sounds like he casts like specific spells, or tries to.
And yeah, and that's where it becomes more interesting, is because like Star, it shows it when it's dying that like she's trying to do spells, and like the little kawaii anime stuff comes out, like I don't know.
Yeah, actually, when she tries to use it, the loot charge, she opens it up, and there's this like
dead unicorn.
Yeah, it's all like, I can't think of the word right now, but like it's skin and bones. It's been starved.
Malnourished.
Yeah, malnourished unicorn inside the wand.
And then actually, when Ludo tries to use it, it just has this like puff, like skull puff on it.
Yeah, actually, there's an interesting thing that relates to different people doing different things with the wand, is that when Star first got the wand, it like changed shape, which seems interesting in relation to that.
That comes up. I promise you, that comes up more and more. It didn't change shape when Ludo had it, but I think it's just because it was...
Yeah, it was out of batteries.
So they just beat the shit out of him and take it back, and then go back to... They're like... It's like, alright, who's gonna pay for all this? To one of the sloth employees. Oh, our enemy is. And they go back to Earth. And
Go back. The wand is charged, and they find there's a glowing vacuum cleaner floating in the vacuum.
Possessed vacuum cleaner. I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna touch it. Don't touch it.
It turns out that the original charger is in the vacuum and is causing it to float, and that turns out that like that's the moral of the story is sometimes if you lose your magic charger, your vacuum will float.
and Marco gets a magical vacuum now.
Yeah.
I like how it just works in there.
Just just do some air vacuum. Sometimes you need to vacuum the ceiling, and there you go.
All right. Anything else on part 2, episode 4?
Nothing else comes to mind.
All right. Then we get into our last episode, the part 1 of the last episode, which is a lot, actually. There's a lot of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Basically, it's Marco's parents' anniversary, and Marco gives them fanny packs for their anniversary.
It's like, you gotta carry things.
It seems like he's given them fanny packs for like the last 5 years or some shit like that.
Well,
That's
clearly
what's
he knows his
implied.
audience.
And has, oh, this is better than last year's. It has all these different things.
You can put stuff in here, and it will carry it.
And Star's freaking out. She didn't give a gift because, of course, she didn't know. So Star's freaking out.
Yeah, Marco's like, hey, you can just say that this was a gift from both of us. And she's like, no, it must be from me.
And so she's freaking out while Marco's giving his parents fanny pack. And she freaks out. She's freaking out. I'm gonna give you a trip to Beauty. Oh no. Oh god. Actually, it opens up with Star on the phone with his parents.
Yeah, because she's calling her parents, say hello, and there's the dimensional scissors behind, back in the background, and they're like, "Hey, is that dimensional scissors?" And she's like, "Oh no, what are you talking about?" And they're like, "Okay, well that's all right. Just gotta make sure you're not supposed to leave Earth." And she's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I wouldn't even think of leaving her." Which of course becomes a problem when she says that she wants to take her parents to Muni because that's not Earth.
So they go to Muni. They have I appreciate the tourist gear that they have. They have the fanny packs. They have the dad has the hat that says the USA.
Yes.
And they go to the lower levels of Muni.
Yeah, and it starts out, they look around and it's all kind of broken down. And they're like, where do you live, Star? And she's like, look up. And there's a big castle. And they're like, ooh. And she's like, no, look higher. And there's a bigger castle. And they're like, ooh. And then she's like, no, look up even higher. And there's the big castle. And they're like, ooh. It's like, that's where I live.
Oh, let's go there. You don't want to see that.
You want to see the real Muni. And then this, peasants. and swine wallowing in the mud.
Muni is this really well, at least the lower levels of Muni. Muni is this stereotypical medieval town, like a what people fantasize England in like the 1500s as like it's very very like stereotypical, and with all the peasants and all the shops and all the people.
And so the parents are like, yo, we're into this. Start running around taking photos.
They're still into it, yeah. And it's not bad. Like, there's nothing bad that happens in the town. They even buy bone wind chimes.
Oh, I should have been paying attention to the end of the episode. I didn't notice they like hang them up somewhere.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But Star sees that his dad is in the lower levels of Muni.
Yes.
And it starts like, oh, let's go to this forest. It's real cool.
Go check out the wonderful nature.
Like the Forest of Death or something like that.
Yeah, the Forest of Certain Death, I believe was the name.
Really evil forest is what I have in my notes.
But like, yeah, let's go there. And Marco's like, no. Star's like, no, we gotta get in there. And so they go in the forest. Yeah.
Oh, quick. We gotta leave. My dad's in here.
Ah, yes. I feel like we gotta get a move on. And so they go into the forest. And in the forest they find, I can't remember the first couple of plants, but they're all clearly like dangerous plants. And there's like a giant centipede running around the back. And the parents never notice it. Marco's looking around, he's like, oh.
Star notices it, but like it's real lucky. And Marco's using everything in his fanny pack.
Yeah, he's using all his equipment.
Yeah. And then at one point, Star just loses them.
Yeah, they get off somewhere. And like, where did they go? And it turns out they went into the weird skull cave.
Like a six-headed dragon or something like that.
Yeah. Well, actually, first she sees her dad in the woods doing something. No, she sees her dad in the woods finding tracks.
And they think that it's them. They think that they're hot on the track. Basically.
Yeah, so they start running somewhere, and the parents run off, and they find out the parents, they follow more footprints, and they find the parents have run into the skull cave. And they go into the skull cave, and they find that the parents have been eaten by a six-headed dragon. So it's like, uh-oh, we gotta fight this dragon.
And they do, they're like, hey, Star's like, hey, Marco, like, what's left in the fanny pack? Like, oh, I've used all of my materials except for some item, and then a tiny book of knots. Cute. Oh, yeah, wait.
Well, they have, like, a weird fireproof blanket, which they hide under.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shows the tiny book of knots.
Cute.
And Star's like, wait a minute, I can use this. And I kind of zoned out at that point, I think. But I think she probably ties up the heads or something. That seems like the thing that would happen.
They basically run around and the dragons like tie the knots themselves, and then they cut like a hole in the dragon.
Yes, that is how you would get a thing out of a dragon.
And all a lot of like dozen of villagers just come out. And it's like, wait, where are my parents?
They gotta be in there somewhere.
And they're just chilling in like a hot lava, like
a hot spring.
Yeah, like a hot spring. With only their fanny packs. And Star's dad's like, wait, hold up, you're not supposed to be here. It's like,
yeah, he shows up.
Yeah.
It starts like, also, there was like this whole thing of like fanny packs and all this. But like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be giving a boring lecture. He's like, well, there's a bunch of, it's just stuff going on. It all started with the fanny packs,
It all started. Even though he has no reason to know what fanny packs are, he just uses it. I appreciate that.
But they decide, you know what? Neither of us was supposed to be here. So we'll just keep it quiet today. We have a little bonding moment.
It is a real good introduction into Star's dad, though.
Yes.
Because Star's dad hasn't really been introduced at this point. Just he's in there for a second on the first episode, and then that's it. And we get a decent introduction to Star's dad's character.
Yes.
Like a basic, but an introduction nonetheless.
Yeah, we get to see that he's basically Big Star.
Honestly, I get my beast killing from you. It was real cute. It was real cool.
But then he leaves, and Star and Marco talk, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the end of everything." And Marco's dad walks by. He's like, "I didn't need to see that."
Oh god, yeah. We go back to Earth, and everything's cool. And it leads us into our last part of the last episode tonight.
Mm-hmm. Brittany's party.
The party bus. Brittany's party. The cheerleader comes back for an episode.
Oh yeah, is she the cheerleader? I didn't realize.
Yeah, she is the cheerleader.
Yeah, because I remember that one of the girls in line was one of the cheerleaders because she had the cheerleader outfit on her, I think.
I forgot to add this to my notes, but we get another character introduction. Star's like, we start off. Star's this like real popular girl in here.
Yeah, she walked past a bunch of people and they're like, yeah,
Star.
yeah, I put pictures of you all over my locker. She's like, oh, that's weird because I've also put pictures of you all over my locker.
Which is a great bit. Yeah, she's not important, but she is a character.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically like a Star fangirl. She does come back. She does come back for like a couple of. And so she gets in line. She doesn't know what the line is for.
It's like, I love lines.
I love lines. And so Brittany is inviting people to her party.
She's selecting and or denying all the people.
And she comes to our main character, Star Butterfly.
She's like, nah, when pigs fly.
Ding!
Here's a flying
Here you
pig
go.
for you.
Here you go. Here's a flying pig. She doesn't realize that she's not invited. That's
right.
And so they just they're waiting on the party bus after that.
Yeah, she gets all dressed up, drags Marco in. They're like, oh yeah, party bus is coming.
Notable thing, she has a new tire, which is actually great. I love her tire in this. So the party bus just passes.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Marco there? I don't know, actually.
Just dragging him along. He has to be in the episode at some point.
I mean, yeah, if Marco wasn't there, it would have done anything. So they just jump on the bus, basically take it over. Marco is carsick, gets carsick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit where, like, Marco and Jackie are more and more mentioned this episode just because, yeah. But Marco can't ever confront Jackie because he's constantly getting carsick.
He's about to throw up for the entire episode. There's a good bit where he's like, oh, I gotta sit down on the stool. But then it turns out it's a rotating stool, and then it turns out it also has wheels. So why would you put this on a bus?
notable, Brittany's party was failing like right before before Star came.
Yeah, there was
And everybody
some
like, yeah,
terrible
Star.
karaoke going on.
But to be honest, there's not a lot to say about this episode.
Yeah, mostly just hijinks.
A lot of hijinks. It's on a party bus. The bus driver. I had to feel bad for the bus driver though.
Yeah, he's just
This
doing
is
his
why I
job.
should have had a party jet.
It's like, well, I don't
What's
have a
the point?
pilot's license.
She said that she wanted a party jet. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the monsters attack, and when the monsters comes in and takes over the bus, he spends all the time like putting a seatbelt on, and, like adjusting his mirrors, putting a hat on.
He steals the bus driver's hat, and they're gonna like send them to the other universe. Jesus. What I have down is there was a lot of civilian casualties in this episode.
Yeah, there's like at least one car of people that goes through the portal to the other dimension.
Yeah. There's multiple other things that happen to civilians, and it's kind of like, Jesus. There is a good bit where like Ludo is on the party bus, and Brittany and Ludo both hate Star.
And they have
Yeah,
their
they're-
little weird bonding moment.
Yeah,
It's like, man, Ludo's
they-
the best. Ludo's my favorite.
Ludo's great. Ludo is great.
He needs to get the wand at some point. That needs to happen. He deserves it. He's done all the work.
I mean, he did at one point, but
I mean, for real.
I don't want. He might, but I'm not sure. But anyway, they have a fight. Marco takes over the bus, even though he's car sick.
Well, I don't remember that happening at all. Must have blacked out.
Somebody took over the bus, and they like flipped like 50 times in the air.
Yeah, that may
I
have, that
thought
may
it
have
was
happened.
Marco. I thought it was Marco, but
It may have been. I also don't remember flipping 50 times in the air, so it's possible I was just not looking at that moment. I do remember at some point they go up to the roof. That's probably before.
that's
The monster
before when they're
show?
doing like the party. They also have a fight on the roof. They have like a hot tub thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, they crash the bus. They don't go into the other world portal. Ludo, of course, gets jobbed out. Ludo and his minions get jobbed out once again. And wasn't it? Was it Ludo and Marco end up like throwing up in the trash can?
Yeah, well, Marco definitely does. Ludo might have also been there. I don't think I was looking at the screen at that moment.
And then, I mean, basically the episode ends.
Yeah, the first
There's-
half is there's a lot that happens in the first half, and the second half is like just hijinks. There's nothing substantial in there.
Yeah, I don't like. For every other like episode of this in my notes, like I have like a few lines, and it guides me throughout this. With episode 5, part 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And one of them is civilian casualties, one of them is Pig's Fly Pit, and one of them is also the concept of the party bus. So
Concept of the party bus.
yeah,
It's a rich people thing, I think.
there's not a lot to talk about, but closing statements of all the episodes that we watched. I mean, we got introduced to this 8-year-old kid that has brass knuckles.
We
got-
get introduced to a lot of rich kids as
Brittany
as
is-
villains.
I mean, Brittany got introduced in episode 2, but like she gets really introduced in episode 5.
Yeah.
There's not a lot more to say about her. I don't think she really has much more substantial parts. I could be wrong, but we get an introduction to Muni. We get a proper introduction to Star's dad.
Yes.
We get Oscar. Oscar's
Oscar
great.
shows up.
Oscar's great.
Oscar's a big mood.
I mean, what do you think about these episodes in general?
I think there was a pretty substantial amount of development in these episodes. Like, a lot of interesting stuff happened. Compared to, like, the first two, where we're basically just introducing the concept and the characters.
Yeah.
Now we're like...
We get a lot more episode to episode action. Like, Ludo gets a lot of screen time. Like,
deserves a lot of screen time.
He does. He really does. Actually, what's funny is, like, Marco's friends are there as well. Like, I don't think we really mentioned them, but like 3 through 5, like, they do get mentioned in a couple of these parts.
Do they? I don't remember seeing them.
They were in the Squid Arm.
Oh
episode.
yeah, 'cause they were trying to wake up a Star during that one. Yeah.
Yeah. They're there. They don't get a lot of screen time. I am excited somewhat because I think sometime soon we are getting St. Olga's. The St. Olga's episode.
I think I was looking through at the titles of the episodes, and I think that St. Olga's happens at the end of season 1.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I mean, there might be an episode earlier, but I specifically saw an episode titled St. Olga's something or other, and it was one of the later episodes, I think.
I thought it happened earlier. I might.
I could check. I've got it right.
We get a major development in the next episode, though.
What we probably do.
Episode 6 is Muberty, which.
Yeah, I think Olga's was episode 19.
Jesus.
Or actually, some of these are 2 together. So that's. What was this one? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes from now, I think. It says 19, but I think some of them have 2 together because they're like the 2 parts.
So in the next podcast, from what I know, is that we're gonna get Muberty, which is a major development in Star's character.
Right.
And we're also going to get, like, episode 8 has Blood Moon Ball, which is where we get introduced to Tom. Yeah.
I'm interested to see who that guy is.
Yeah. He's only mentioned briefly in one of the episodes, and we finally get to. But besides that, I think that's it. I think that's all.
I think we covered everything.
I think we have.
So I guess we'll be back next time for, what is it? We just did episode 5, so that'd be 6, 7, and 8, probably?
Well, this has been Trying to Understand Star versus the Force of Evil.
Come back next Thursday, I think is when I'm posting these, for more. There will be cats, probably.
Wait a minute.
You said it's called Muberty. There's got to be some cats.
I don't think that's how it works, but alright. I'll give it to you.
Alright. This is my outro. That's the end.